talking about chaos artistry. And this is a new term that I use for what I teach and what I do myself, which is mainly composed out of two parts: chaos and artistry. Duh. And I'm going to explain this very fast, I think. The first part, the chaos, is about you being okay of chaos. People get frightened of chaos. There is chaos in life, and having rules makes you feel like you have control over the chaos, which that's how it normally happens, but that's not true. That's actually a lie, because the rules are basically limitations. That's why it gives you control over the chaos, because it basically makes you ignore what's outside of the rules. So by having those rules, you are more focused on something and you're not all over the place, which chaos actually is. Like a lot of all over the place, right? That made total sense. And this first part is about not needing the outside rules to guide you into focus, knowing that you have the control to focus yourself on whatever it is that you want. Ever had a project where there was too much freedom, too little details, and you felt kind of afraid because you didn't know actually where to start, you were confused? So that's what chaos actually is, and it's this paradox of people wanting freedom, but when they have it, they are actually afraid of it and they don't know what the fuck to do with it. And chaos is actually freedom. Oh my god, this just came to me. Chaos is freedom. Okay? And it's this first step is actually you being okay with being in this chaos and not being afraid of it, not being afraid of freedom, not being afraid of chaos. When you think about it, chaos is not a word that you would associate with something good, you would associate it with something bad. So not being afraid of chaos is the first step. And it's more associated with getting from a lot of control, which is is fake control anyway, but getting out of that super controlled environment by outside stuff, getting into flow. But too much flow is chaos, and that's all it is. And it cannot actually manifest into something. It has no focus. And that's where the second part comes into play, which is the artistry part. The artistry part is all about precision and finding the precision in the chaos, starting to control the chaos. Because this is where the magic is. I keep talking about it. It's the balance between control and flow. If there's too much flow, there's nothing actually manifesting. If there's too much control, there is restriction and you are forcing something and you are not actually allowing the truth and the true expression of you to come forward. You have to allow that to come through, but to control it in such a way that it's not forced, but it's just the exact precise amount to manifest and to actually do magic. That's what it is all about. That is chaos artistry. That is what I do. That is what I teach. That is what I do in my Facebook group, Talent is Your Mistress. But mostly, Chaos Artistry is the name of my new group program. And I'm gonna talk about I've just announced it, and now I'm getting more in depth into what it actually is. And I'm gonna go a bit. It's gonna help you understand more about the program, but it's also gonna help you understand more about what chaos artistry actually is. So I'm going through a bit I think it's called a summary. So it's kind of like the outline of what we are going to do in this group program. The first chapter is Talent Cleanse, which is mostly what I talked about. It's about shattering lies. I would like to pronounce that word shattering better than how I'm pronouncing it, because it's such a beautiful word, but not the way I pronounce it. But anyway, so the talent cleanse is that it's what I've been talking about. It's part of the first part, the getting into the chaos. Right now you are in a controlled environment and you have a lot of limitations, some of which you are aware of, some of which you are not even aware of, or maybe you're just aware of the surface limitations but not the core of it. We're trying to actually get to the core of them, and when we kill them down there at their core, all their ramifications are gonna die with them. We're just being efficient. So it's about identifying the lies, identifying the shadow, and killing it. You start to get rid of the noise. You start to see. You start to understand somehow, to feel the truth in the fact that your value is inherent, and you lose the attachment of all the outside factors, validation, approval, whatever. And this gets us to chapter 2, which is raising your standards. It's so funny that I'm actually reading, but I'm reading something else. Raise your value. Raise your value. The standards are actually a part of this chapter, but raise your value is more than. So going from 1 to 2, you are acknowledging, as I said, the value, that you are acknowledging that the fact that the value is inherent. But what you're doing now, you're stepping more and more into that value. And we're going to talk about innate value, how it has nothing to do with the outside. But here's the thing, just me telling you that, you can feel that what I'm saying is true for you, but it's not going to switch and make you believe that this thing that we are looking for, our worth and our value on the outside, is something that is so deeply ingrained in us that it's not going to just shift because I tell you that it is, and you actually believe that it's true consciously, but subconsciously you're not going to switch that belief so easily. So that's why we're going to talk about innate value, speaking your truth, because that's when you are starting to actually see your value and to actually own your value, when you are willing to share it with the world without being embarrassed by it. Speak your truth and then hold your standards. Speaking your truth is gonna make you raise your standards, but raising them is not the same as holding them, because a lot of people think that they are raising their standards, meaning that they are very decisive when saying, hey, this is my new standard, this is what I'm gonna do now, this is, well, this was bound to happen at some point. Okay, we're back. Sorry for dropping you. So you may be very decisive about, this is the new thing that I'm gonna do, or this is something that I'm not gonna do anymore. So that's you raising your standard, and you are being decisive about it. You are deciding that this is what it is. But just that is not gonna be enough, because here's where you are, here's where your standard is, your new standard. In order to get to that energy, there's a gap you need to fill, and that's gonna happen by you holding those standards. Because once you raise your standards, a lot of situations are gonna come that are gonna challenge exactly that standard that you just raised, and if you don't hold it, you're still in this energy. If you start holding it, that's when you go up to your standard. So holding it is actually the challenge in raising your standards, to actually hold them in real life situations. Then we're going to the third chapter, which is chaos precision. This is where the artistry is coming in, where you already have so much more control of you. You've killed a huge chunk of your shadow, and you're already seeing real life changes around you. You feel the assertiveness that you have, the confidence, the real type of confidence that you have in life, and you feel like you're starting to take control over it. And now this chaos precision part, it's also specifically talking about artists, any kind of artist, whatever your art may be. It's about finding this balance between flow and control, because this is very personal to each and every one of us. And it's actually not something that you determine now and it's going to stay like that all the rest of your life, because that's what magic is. Magic is always being open to intuition, and it's actually finding this balance in each and every piece that you work on. If you do something right now, you have an awesome artwork out there, okay, you finished it. The next one, if you're being influenced by the last one and you're trying to mimic the last one, that's not it. That's not magic. That's not your talent. That's not intuition. Intuition is staying open to doing whatever it takes you to move on with this artwork and express your true self, like right now. And we're actually going to talk about intuition versus inspiration, which a lot of people think of inspiration and taking inspiration like as an actual action. And well, looking on Pinterest, I'm looking on whatever, on YouTube videos. Inspiration is something that's used so much as being something on the outside. But real inspiration is inside of you, because when you take it from inside of you, you take it through a filter. The filter of the way you perceive outside world and the way you remember it, and then the way you express it. And it's so important to understand how to tap into your own inspiration, because your inspiration actually is coming from the outside anyway. But do not need outside factors to inspire you into creating. You are in control of you and your talent and your creations, and you don't need anything in order to do that, to create. Controlling the chaos. We've kind of talked about this balance between flow and control, and how much control you want to put in without influencing, without forcing it. And then the next chapter, the last one, the fourth one, Truthful Talent Manifestation, which is talking about money. Money being part of your talent. Money is part of the talent. It's not like I have a talent and I just keep it as a hobby. If I make it work out of it, it's not going to be a talent anymore. It's going to be tainted. It's going to be not pure. It's whatever. Money is not a bad thing, and it's about putting together artistry with money and taking that next step and not being afraid to make your talent your career and actually manifest money out of your talent in real life. That is the ultimate goal. This is the program. It's a 7-week program, $1,500 investment, and it starts in 7 April, because on the 5th it's my birthday. This is going to start on the 7th. So contact me for details. Actually, just contact me to get in. Can't wait to see you. Bye, guys. Chaos Artistry. Fascinating.